Well, students, we are going to take your portraits and enhance them. So let's get into Photoshop. You'll open up the folder that that your photos are in, the out folder. And I'm just going to take one that I think is suitable, that has a horizontal format, and I'll also take one that has a vertical format. You just drag them from your Windows Explorer down onto this Photoshop icon and then up into the project bin. Same thing here, I've dragged it from my Windows Explorer to the project bin and it'll open up. So I've got one that's horizontal and one that's vertical. The first step is we're going to crop it. Now this picture in particular might do better kind of as it is, but we're going to go 8 by 10 for this project. Move over to the crop tool, change the aspect ratio from no restriction to 8 by 10. This is not the same dimension that your photo will be. Now let's drag this image up to the orange line and this image up to the orange line. So for this image, if you were to crop, it stays locked within that aspect ratio of 8 by 10, but we might do better with a horizontal orientation to this. So you can press this swap arrows and that'll get you your 10 by 8 instead of 8 by 10. And dragging that out as much as possible, we can get an arrangement that we're happy with. Similarly, if we go to our vertical image, we've got to swap that again, so it's 8 inches wide, 10 inches high. And you can start outside in this gray area when you're dragging out, and it'll limit itself to the canvas size. But after you've done that, if you wanted to extend it beyond that canvas size, you can. Just keep in mind that it'll, once you complete your action, you'll see this white band on the outside of it. So make sure you don't go outside the canvas size. You can start out there, just don't adjust it once you have. And drag this down so that it suits the picture. Now that it's cropped, you can add this new adjustment layer. So click on this little circle that has a black and white semicircle within it. And first thing that we're going to do is change the levels. Make sure that the brightness and darkness are appropriate. There's a lot of black pixels in this image you can see, but it's still nice to make this jump over to 5. Don't worry about the output levels or you're going to be diminishing the entire image. You're limiting this whole image. Now you're saying any pixels have to be between a middle gray and a white, and that's what you're seeing here. So don't worry about output levels unless you have a good reason to change those. So you've moved black over 5 and move white down to 250 at least. And then if you feel like that's not giving you enough lightness in your image, continue to bring it down. So when you're happy with it, you can determine whether you did a decent job of changing those levels on your image non-destructively by looking at this layer here. You can turn it off by clicking that little eye, and you'll see that originally it was a little bit more dull, a little bit more muted and dark. With the levels on, you've got a much brighter, more vibrant image. You can do the same thing with this image, your second one, or if you only have one really good one, just do one. But if you have two good ones, try to do both. And do your levels, just adjust over so your blacks are rich, your whites are also bright and visible. Not so far that you start to lose details in areas like that cheek. You want to go with subtlety so that you make that photo look good without losing reality. And you can also add other adjustment levels. You could do a hue saturation thing where you're changing colors within it if you're going for something unusual, or even brightening up or dulling down the photograph. If you want it to be black and white, you can dull it down so far that it diminishes any color at all, and you get your image in black and white. You can also colorize your image. Click this little button here, and you can choose what hue to make it. So in case you want to make it like a sepia tone photograph, you could increase that kind of orangey darkness. There are lots of other adjustment layers you can add to this. Feel free to play around with all of them. When you're done, you go to File and Save As, and you're trying to make this saved so that you can keep this modifiable layer structure as part of your PSD. So, of course, you'll be saving to the right spot for students in, yearbook in, portrait, and then just as we do, your last name dot first name dash what it is. And of course, please include also the name of the person who took the photograph by whoever, and save that. So that's your PSD that you've saved, but printers often don't print PSDs, they'll print TIFFs and JPEGs and other bitmapped kind of images. So when this is done saving, we will save it as a JPEG too. File, Save As, and Format to JPEG. And just leave it whatever. It's going to add this word copy at the end. Don't worry about that. Just press save. Make sure the quality is 12 and press OK. So you've got a enhanced photograph that has been cropped to 8 by 10 at, oh, one thing I forgot was to say that the crop needs to be a resolution of 300. So when you do your aspect ratio, make sure that it's 8 by 10 at 300. Right now it's 8 by 10 at 500, but that's fine. You can always decrease the size and it won't affect the quality. But if you try and increase the size from something lower than 300, you'll start to get a little bit of pixelation. And you've got it saved in the right spot. Congratulations, you've got a nice portrait photograph.